It's official. You're part of Bugcrowd.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're finally here. I know we've had the opportunity now to get to know each other for a long time. And we've talked about before in other forms and fashions trying to find a way to work together. So thrilled that you're finally part of the team and we get to partner up.
Going to be better together.
That's right. So tell us the story of Mayhem. What prompted you to start this business? What was the problem that you were trying to solve?
Well, we started Mayhem really to solve a typical computer security problem, which is how do you find exploitable bugs? And lots of people tackle that problem. People have done it for decades. But what was missing, we felt, was when you're trying to look for exploitable vulnerabilities, the ability to create a POV, a proof of vulnerability that shows that it's a real vulnerability. I mean, lots of tools will show you all the possible different places there may be an issue with the system, but the thing that makes hackers unique and special is they can prove it. They can
That's
show
right.
here's how I was able to get in. And so we wanted to start automating that and bring that to the world.
You had a lot of different options, whether it was continuing to grow a great business yourselves or look for other organizations to kind of merge with and become part of. What was so attractive about Bugcrowd and the opportunity here versus some of the other options that you looked at?
We've been working on this idea of autonomous AppSec, the ability for computers to go automatically find exploitable bugs. But one of the things that we hold as a core belief is in the power of human creativity. And you really need a person to help analyze the situation and point the tools at in the right direction. And well, Bugcrowd brings that, right? They have the power of the crowd and human creativity. And I think that's the real magic together, where people get to bring everything they bring and what they're best at, and then let the tools automate the work for them.
Yeah, I think that for me is really what makes this so exciting, right? That the hacker remains a core focus of really empowering AI to become everything that we believe it can be over time. And I think so many people look at AI and they think about AI empowering the human. We actually have a little bit of a different point of view, right? The AI certainly helps facilitate more productivity and efficiency for humans. It creates that superhuman. But I think conversely, we're also seeing that human ingenuity is key to unlocking the real power and benefit that you can get from AI.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that's actually what makes hacking really special, right? It was
That's
always
right.
about that creative solution. And then once you find that, of course, you want to automate it to shift left, find things faster, but you need that spark, really.
Yeah. Well, speaking about hacking, you've been have gotten a nickname for yourself, the Nick Saban of the NSA. Tell us the story. How did this come to be? Where did this come
All right. So the funny thing is, I didn't even know who Nick Saban was when this came out. I had to have someone tell me. So I had a friend of mine say, "Hey, a reporter wants to talk to you," and called me up, and I was on my car just driving, talking to him. And the next week, this amazing story came out. And I talked to the reporter afterwards. What he said is he had talked to a number of different people in computer security. Rob Joyce at the NSA, people in the defense industry, leaders at Google. And one thing that kept coming up was we had the privilege of helping them in their education to get them where they were. And so I think that's why it came about is I really love teaching and being able to take people as they're just entering into computer security and bring them to that first and next level was really important. I think that's where it came about.
And teaching has really been a huge part of the Mayhem story, right? All going all the way back to you and your co-founder and some of the team that you have on board. Kind of how is your relationship as, in some cases, their professor at Carnegie Mellon, all the way through to now being partners in a business? How has that worked for you?
I really wouldn't have it any other way. So first, I just really enjoy working with people. There's just something special about that. And no AI is going to replace this. I think also, as you know, computer security is very noisy. And so it's really important to stay on top of what the actual latest science says. And this has been a way to be grounded in that and remove the hype cycles and really focus at where the core science tells us the tech can be beneficial.
So as you think about building autonomous AppSec, that's a big problem to go solve. There's a lot of players that have come before you. that have tried to solve this from a more traditional or legacy application security perspective. How do you think about AI and agentic AI or autonomy really helping play a role in AppSec in this new generation?
The legacy providers have tried to do this like 0 1 bit. It's either secure or not with a scan. And that just blew my mind. It doesn't make sense to me that you can just scan something once and then somehow say it's secure against every hacker everywhere. It just doesn't work that way. So instead, what we really looked at this as a search problem, just like humans do. It's about figuring out where in the app has it been well enough tested, where
Right.
those problems lie, and then ferreting them out, and then writing a test case to actually prove it, right? At the end of the day, if you get that test case, it gives you confidence that you're chasing real vulnerabilities. And I'll tell you another thing about this. We never believed that AppSec in autonomy was about this 0 1 at all. It was really about shrinking this time window, where if today it takes this amount of time from when a vulnerability is discovered to when it's patched, if we can shrink that, then there's
Yeah.
really no chance for the criminals to break into systems. And so we built this idea and we did it in research, over decades. Like I'm not alone in this. Great researchers throughout the world have been doing this. And we built on their work. And then we had this tremendous opportunity in something called the DARPA CyberGrad Challenge to show what is possible for fully autonomous AppSec. And we were able to win that. But as we've discussed, the art of the possible gives you a North Star. There's also how do we bring this to everyone else after you do that?
Yeah, that's
And that's what
exactly
we've been
right.
working on.
That's always the challenge, is the commercialization of a great idea, right? And you talked about the DARPA challenge that landed the Mayhem team in the Smithsonian, and you now have an exhibit there to show some of the work that you've done on autonomous testing. But I think to your point, now it's how do you make that available to the masses to be able to consume in a way that makes sense for their business on their maturity curve. And that's really something for us that I'm so excited to bring this to the Bugcrowd customers, because now we have the opportunity to work with our customers and say, hey, we're here to service you regardless of where you are on that maturity curve. Whether you're just doing your first pen test because an auditor told you you have to, or you're looking to truly become more secure, to review your code as you're writing it, to secure the APIs that run your business and your partners and your ecosystem that you play a role in, all the way through. I want to run an open scope bug bounty and be able to have the elite hackers of the internet come and try to break in. We now have an opportunity to walk into a customer together and say, where are you on your journey? What outcome are you trying to drive for your security program? And here's how we can help regardless of where you are on that journey. That's what gets me really excited about combining the power of AI, this autonomous AppSec platform, continuing to drive forward with the ingenuity that comes from the hacker community.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's like you said, it's being able to meet people where they are and take them to the next level. I think the other important thing that's important for security people to remember is it's also that pro gets to help scope what those results mean. I mean, often we can lose sight of the fact like this is a severity 9.8 critical vulnerability. And the expert will come and say, yeah, that's in a test API. It's not even deployed. It's behind your firewall. What you should be focusing on is this other thing over
That's
here.
right.
Like just having that sort of number of severity doesn't give you the business context. And that's the problem Bugcrowd helps solve. It's not just the crowd, but giving that business context.
Think about how the AI models try to keep pace with innovation that we're seeing in industry. And they're trying to develop models that are helping write more, not just functionally better code, not just functionally better code faster, but trying to do that in a secure way. You and the team have come up with the ability to deliver a product back to them around reinforcement learning. And what's important here is you're using real data to do that, not synthetic data. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of what drove you down this path and some of the success that you've seen so far.
Yeah, I think we're just hitting the maturity level that allowed us to do this. So, we were talking about AppSec in general and what's changed. Previously, when people were scanning, one of the big problems was false positives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at even the latest research, something like 50% of the findings that they say are not real. Now imagine you're training an AI where 50% of the things you're training it on are fake, right?
Right.
We're all worried about hallucinations. Now you're training it on hallucinations.
Mm-hmm.
So what we realized was since we have zero false positives, every time we say there's a result, we have an exploit. we could package this up to help foundational models train. And we went to various providers, and they were pretty excited about this because we could start providing them the sort of scale necessary that's necessary to train these models to get to the next level.
And when you talk about scale, you're talking about this in hundreds of thousands of environments being delivered to some of these model companies. And I think that's something that's really unique, right? There's very few players out in the market today that are able to approach this at that level of scale, again, using real data, not synthetic data.
Yeah, that was really exciting for us. So when I was reading like the latest research papers from people at these foundational models, they were training over like 10 or 100 vulnerabilities.
Right.
And we're able to come in with 100,000 from real open source software. And I think it goes beyond that. Because we're continuously analyzing it, we're able to pick out new vulnerabilities with POVs, proof of vulnerabilities, before they're disclosed to help train the models.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you're going to responsibly disclose it. But the reason that's important is when you're trying to train these models, you don't want to accidentally give them something they've seen before,
Right.
because then they're just going to be doing recitation. They're just memorizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to give them novel problems. And that's what really got them excited. It's not just the volume, but the fact these were things that were fresh. So where do you see the role of the human when interacting with AI? I mean, we know that they have hallucinations. We talked about creativity and accountability, but
Yeah.
like for that specific problem, where is the role of the person?
So I think what you're going to see there is really validating the AI, looking at the outcome or the output that the AI is giving and saying, is this right? Is this accurate? Is this truthful? And what we've seen, as you and I have talked about many times, is some of these models are giving false answers, giving very confident false answers 40 to 50% of the time, claiming they have the answer to a challenge when they really don't. And having that human checkpoint to be able to demand accountability of the system is going to be something that's core to the general acceptance of AI taking action on your behalf, right? We have to have trust in the system before we're going to be willing to go deploy that on our behalf. And I think that's where customers and organizations looking to leverage this at scale aren't there yet. They believe in the future, they believe in the excitement of what AI can be, but there's still a lot of work that has to happen between now and just turning over the keys to AI to go take all of these actions on your behalf.
So some people worry that AI is going to replace humans. What would you tell that person?
I think AI is going to continue to get better and more sophisticated. I think the element that we've talked about so much, both today, but then over the past year or so, is replacing human creativity is incredibly challenging. Replacing that hacker mindset of having a resiliency towards solving a problem and finding a solution to a problem and bringing that creativity to bear alongside their peers, collaborating on challenges, collaborating on trying to solve a problem is something that's going to be really hard to replicate with AI. And I think as I sit here today, I don't see a future that we replace humans with AI. I think we leverage AI in such a way that humans look very different than they do today in terms of their output, in terms of their capability, in terms of their sophistication. Replacing humans, I just don't see it.
So Dave, I'm really curious. Like you talk to, I'm sure, lots of different people when you're looking at acquisitions. What got you excited about Mayhem?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of different pieces of this one, right? There was first and foremost the team. You and your co-founder and the rest of the team getting to know you all throughout the process. It was clear that there was a strong cultural fit. There was a belief in leveraging the hacker community to continue to drive forward our mission of helping customers understand and consume and leverage AI in a secure and effective way. When we thought about how does this fit in from a product roadmap standpoint, it was a no-brainer, right? As I've talked about, being able to combine human ingenuity and autonomous AI to be able to go out and meet customers where they are on their journey is something that's really compelling and something that hasn't been done in this industry. So I think when we looked at, okay, the timing, the team that comes with the organization, and then the opportunity to go drive real value and outcomes for customers, that was what got us really excited. And as you talked about, there were a lot of different AI red team companies, AI pen test companies, and a lot of organizations that have popped up over the course of the last 12 to 18 months. And we've spoken to a lot of those. And I think it was the combination of you had real world traction and the ability to point to demonstrable evidence of, hey, this works in the market. There was strong product market fit. There was an incredibly brilliant team, and then there was the ability to have technology to take to customers with also the benefit of the future state of, look at all of these things we can go build together and continue to drive forward. So it was really looking at kind of tech, people, and then the evidence that you had in the market. That was just a no-brainer for us that this was the right fit, and we wanted to find a way to partner up. And as we talked about in the beginning, I think going back almost 10 years and realizing, hey, we've been trying to figure out a way to do this for a while, and now we finally have the chance.
And I really have to thank you for putting all the effort into making this happen. Because as you mentioned, like we've been talking for 10 years.
Right.
So I'm so excited we get a chance to go forward together.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.